The first radio bulletins were sketchy, saying only that someone in a red sports car had been murdered execution style at a major intersection outside Dublin. But the police and the reporters on the scene knew the victim's identity. They just didn't want to believe it. When news spread that it was Veronica Guerin, in some mysterious way it touched the Irish soul. People left flowers and cards at government buildings, and at offices and factories around the country, there was a national moment of silence. Thousands of people attended the funeral, including the president and the prime minister, and the country wept when her 6-year-old son, Cathal, kissed his mother's casket in a final goodbye.
Everybody read Veronica Guerin. Everybody throughout the length and breadth of Ireland who wanted to know what was happening went to the Veronica Guerin column because it was undiluted.
Chris Finnegan is a retired narcotics detective who is one of Veronica Guerin's sources.
Was there anything that set her apart from other reporters?
Yes, I think there was. The way in which she came with the story. I think she had it very often, perhaps before the police had it, let alone before her peers or her colleagues would have had it.
And the stories she wrote took her readers into an Ireland very few people ever saw, away from the peaceful streets of a tranquil country into an underworld of drugs and organized crime. Inner-city neighborhoods had become infested with heroin. There were 8,000 addicts in Dublin alone.
Bingo!
Angel dust, ecstasy, and marijuana were finding their way into middle-class neighborhoods. There were a dozen gangland murders.
This is the latest in a series of brutal murders in Dublin.
Connolly's murder brings
yet another so-called gangland killing.
Been shot in the head.
Not one of them was ever solved. The Irish police didn't have the men or the money to do the job. It was as if no one cared except for Veronica Guerin, who spoke out frequently on Irish television.
I think that the dogs in the street know who the drug barons are. Everything favours the criminal in this society.
Willie Keeley was her editor.
You never went up to her and said, Veronica, I think you're going too far. This is too dangerous. I think you should stop.
No. I never said you should stop writing about crime.
Would she have listened to you if you had said, Veronica, I think this is too dangerous. I think you should find another line of work, another beat?
Well, if the Sunday Independent had said, you cannot write about crime anymore, she would simply have gone somewhere else.
And Veronica Guerin confirmed as much in this interview 6 months before she was killed.
Before I ever got into investigating the criminal underworld in Dublin, if I said, okay, over the next 12, 18, 24 months, you are going to have shots fired into your house, be shot yourself, and be severely assaulted, and that your family are going to be threatened and intimidated. Am I going to get into it? No, I would never have got into it. But having got into it, I cannot walk away from it because it's a job that must be done, and I'm a journalist.
Whoever killed Veronica Guerin must have felt that they were solving a problem, but in fact their problems were just beginning. And whatever trouble she caused them while she was alive is nothing compared to the trouble Veronica Guerin has caused them in death. The Irish Parliament convened a special session to pass emergency anti-crime legislation, and the Irish police began one of the biggest criminal investigations in the nation's history.